Welcome, Evercadians and Richard enthusiasts. You are watching the Evercade Effect, and I am Richard Kildashine. And today I wanted to talk about something. I wanted to talk about, is the Evercade video game preservation? So in other words, we have this, and we have this. Is this video game preservation? Is this video game preservation? That's what I want to go ahead and talk about. So don't go anywhere. You're going to want to hear my final thoughts. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel for everything Evercade and retro related. Yeah! So let's go ahead and get to it.
Evercade Effect.
Okay, so first I want to talk about Wikipedia's definition of video game preservation. So let me just go ahead and read this real quick. Video game preservation is a form of preservation applied to the video game industry that includes, but not limited to, digital preservation. Such preservation efforts include archiving, development source codes and art assets, digital copies of video games, emulation of video game hardware, maintenance and preservation of specialized video game hardware such as arcade games and video game consoles, the digitization of print video game magazines and books prior to the digital revolution. Oh my god, I was thinking resolution.
Get it right or pay the price.
So today we're just going to focus on video games themselves. Obviously there's several sections here. Covers emulation. We all know what that is. It's going to go over one more thing. Obviously I'm not going to read this whole thing. I just want to talk about this highlighted area, the importance of preservation. Besides retaining the ability to play games from the past, preservation of video games enables research on the history of video games, as well as ways for developers to look at older video games to build ideas from. There's also interest in the preservation of canceled video games that were known to be in development, as coupled with the reasons for cancellation, they can provide the understanding of the technical and creative aspects or lack thereof at a time of the game's development. Okay, so what did I go over that? Well, Wikipedia isn't 100% perfect. No, at least it's something to go by. So, for me, video game preservation is basically, hey, it's out there. The people have the means to go ahead and play that. So that kind of goes back to this. So for this card here, is this the only way that I can play these games? Is this the only way that I can play this game, even though this game is an original hardware? The answer is no. So then it kind of gets a little more tricky on what your definition of video game preservation is. Is it that it allows me to play? I mean, definitely, let's say having all these Disney games on here, it makes it easy, right? I don't have to go on the internet. I don't have to hunt all this down. I don't have to go ahead and search them. I have it here at my fingertips. And it's also a legal way of doing it. But the problem is, again, with this just means that I can play it. The world doesn't get to play it. So, video game preservation, I think the Evercade supports it, but I wouldn't consider it by itself to be video game preservation in its current state. Now, hopefully, as Evercade gets popular and it gets more accessible to people, yes, that might be true. But the hard truth is that sites like, archive.org, I hate to say it, but it's like piracy, if you want to call it that, is what is going to make ROM and video game preservation exist. Because unfortunately, after a certain time, companies, it's no big secret, they really don't care about older games that aren't going to make the money. Only people like you and me really care about these things. So what I do think that Evercade does, I do think that it makes it, the accessibility part, a lot easier. Yeah! I don't have to go out, I don't have to hunt down these ROMs, I don't have to find a device, I don't have to find a controller. And not only that, it puts together an experience for me. As I've always said, if you want to go ahead and just play games, yeah, you can go ahead and you can load up a bunch of ROMs. Now, because of video game preservation, which is the almighty internet, yes, you can go out there and you can find them. And I think that's the heart of the matter, is that the internet itself, by all the different means that I just talked about, preserves video games. But this makes it really easy. But that's not the only reason I have an Evercade. There's Discovery, and there's several other things and whatnot. So while I'm on the topic of this, you didn't think I was going to pull this here. There's a part 2 to this video. So somebody posted this to the Evercade's fan group. All right. So for privacy reasons, I went ahead and I blocked out Tom's last name here because this is a private group. But from the Evercade fans hub, he went ahead and posted this, and I think this is great and a good time to the video. So he said, curious about the following. As I see it, there are 3 ways to go about collecting Evercade carts. The completionist, pretty self-explanatory, carts are numbered, need 'em all. The nostalgia guy only wants carts with games they associate with good childhood memories. Or the explorer wants the oddball games they've never heard of before, and favors carts like indie, mega cats, etc. I am the first category. So, well, why do I bring that up? Well, the Evercade offers more than just easy access to video game preservation. All of us fit into one of those 3 categories. Me personally, I fit into all 3 of those categories. Because yes, I'm the completionist, it's the one thing I collect. I do want all the carts, but why do I want all the carts? Well, because of discovery. I love, I love the discovery, because I may dismiss a cart now. Who knows, I may figure out something later on. I want to have easy access, I want to go back to that. And the nostalgia, yes, of course I get the carts that are nostalgic, but I like the carts that also are non-nostalgic. So, why do I bring that up? So again, keep pointing back to this guy here. So, this in itself, while by alone,
Oh, for God's sake, pull yourself together, man.
By itself, it may not be video game preservation, right? But it gives me easy access to games. It lets me discover games. It lets me complete and collect something physical. You can't do that with a ROM, that's out there on the internet. I mean, yeah, the same as collecting these guys, but you know what? These guys have gotten quite expensive. I'm not just talking about that one game. I'm talking about physical media in general has gotten quite expensive. And yes, obviously, the Evercade, it has just ROMs on a cart. But technically, isn't this just a ROM image itself? But this is in physical hardware form. Well, tomato, tomato. I'm sure a lot of you will have opinions on that below. But my point is, Evercade is a device that enables and helps video game preservation. I don't believe that it's video game preservation on its own until hopefully maybe someday it gets out there to the masses. Everybody's aware of it. Everyone has one of these like a Nintendo Switch. Maybe then at that level, yes, you're getting the physical carts. You're able to get this. And then, yeah, you're able to have easy access. Although what's funny is that I say this, again, this is one of the discontinued carts. Aha! I picked it for a reason. You can't get it anymore officially. You may be able to get it on the secondary market. So yeah, again, that's another reason why it's not video game preservation. Yeah, there are a lot of these carts printed here as well. But they're in limited quantities. The only true preservation that it comes down to is being out there on the interwebs and the almighty archive. So, let's get a discussion below. Let me know, what do you think? Do you think Evercade by itself is video game preservation? Do you agree with me? Do you have your own thoughts? I'd love to get a conversation going. And as always, well, I created content. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye!